Hey, everybody. Absolutely stunning news over here this week. We have a video version of this week's episode available on our Patreon, which is patreon.com/late night. Go over there, sign up at any tier, and you'll have access to it. Once again, that's patreon.com/late night. Now, enjoy the show. Look, you mentioned it before. I want to hear about boxing training.
Yeah, I sparred with my coach today, got knocked around a bit, and then, bolted home and flash showered and because it was disgusting, and then bolted in here. And that's been a lot of my life for the past 5 months. I started training for this in September.
So we should say that you were just announced last week, right, as part of Creator Clash 2.
I was.
And this is specifically what you're training for, right?
100%. Creator Clash 2, let's go. Susie was actually there because I got to give a big shout out to Aaron Hansen for kind of like connecting me with this whole event and walking me in the door. And Susie and Aaron came over at her place and we were just hanging out for the first time in like way too long. And, I watched the first Creator Clash. I watched all of it and was just like enamored and like had moments where I was crying, including Aaron and Harley's fight.
Yeah.
It's just so wholesome. It's wholesome violence.
Wholesome violence, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I told Aaron, I was like, I want to do this. And he was like, you don't understand though. You have to be like incredibly serious because it's a lot.
It's not just people fucking around. It's people doing it, right?
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I like tried to deter Marisha, and like right from the first time Erin said it, she was like, no, I want to do it. I'm going to do it. And I was like, oh my God, do you know that they're going to like punch you in the face and stuff? And she's like, yeah, that sounds great. Let's do it.
That's their goal, indeed. Yes.
Yeah, like you had like the like complete like gremlin let's go energy. Like you really wanted to get into it. And like I admire that. Like where does that come from? Like where did that come from in you?
Man, that is a great question. I've always been pretty competitive. And I really enjoy learning new skills. Trying to get me to just like go into the gym to just work out for the sake of working out. If you're like, man, lift weights and run a mile, I'm like, why? Why am I doing any of this? This is torture. But if you say like there's a goal in mind, I will do anything. I'll put myself through hell to reach that end goal. And at the end of the day, it's just, wanting to look good. It's not even really about winning. I mean, it's a little bit about winning, but
sure.
It's wanting to be your best in that moment. And, I really enjoy like the competitive aspect of sports and being pushed in that way, because I do think that you can learn a lot about yourself and your ilk.
Were you an athlete growing up?
I did competitive dance team.
Awesome. The nerdiest form of athletics. Yes.
I know. I didn't do like any type of like contact sports. And then I did martial arts later on in life as well. But to be fair, like if anyone has ever watched Cheer on Netflix, there's a season 1 and season 2 of Cheer, you should watch it. Even if you don't think that you'd be into it, because I don't think they give like cheerleaders or people in dance team the due respect to how hard these people push themselves. And I know they've been pushing to make cheer a category in the Olympics. And I am
really? Oh, that's cool. That's awesome.
Yeah. I don't know if they ever will. But when you watch like some of the things, these people like doing their 2-minute routine and then running over and barfing in the trash can and then running back and doing it again, or girls getting bruised ribs from repeatedly throwing tricks.
Nuts. Yeah.
It's insane. It's insane. So yeah, I remember back in the day in high school when we were, I was really in the thick of competition season. And also as time goes on, everyone tries to innovate and do crazy things and throw crazy tricks. Or we were like throwing toe touches and landing in planks on the ground or just insane shit. And I would have these bruises all over my body. And I loved comparing them to my friends who were in football at the same time because I could go toe to toe with them with the amount of abuse.
And you're wearing far less protective gear too, right?
Right. Yeah. No pads or anything. You're just wrecking your body. So yeah, I haven't really had anything like that since high school, and then kind of getting back and training for Creator Clash again. It's like, oh yeah, that's right.
So are you doing the thing where it's not only the physical training, but changing diet, all that full in, I know Aaron radically changed his diet, right? When he started training.
Absolutely. I have a legitimate team of people behind me.
Yeah.
To shape me into an athlete. It's crazy. It's not cheap. That's the other thing about this. Like,
I'm sure not. Yeah.
Like props to Creator Clash because they give you a stipend for your training. Even the stipend that they give, I don't think will fully cover the amount though that I'm dumping into it.
No, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Susie knows and I think Aaron's doing
all
the same
of the
thing.
time. Yeah, and the specialists and the doctor's appointments and the food and the training sessions alone.
Yeah, like I'm currently training 5 days a week with my boxing coach in the mornings.
Wow.
I train 3 days a week with my strength and conditioning personal trainer in the evenings and on Saturdays.
Oh my God.
So like I'm doing physical exertion 6 days a week, recovering on Sundays, or at least attempting to. I've got a nutritionist, I've got a meal plan, I've got a sports masseuse, I've got an IV therapist. Yeah, I think Aaron's doing the same thing like once a week.
Yeah, you can tell on Aaron's face, after he's had an IV treatment, it's a noticeable difference.
What's an IV therapist? I don't even know what this is, except that they're clearly injecting or putting shit into your body.
It's like a new trend that I've seen pop up in the last 2 or 3 years. I'm sure it's been underground in the nursing community for longer than that, because I have friends and family members who are nurses who said they offered this service for bachelor parties and stuff. But basically, yeah, IV bags at the hospital that are full of saline and it's basically Pedialyte for your body
to prevent you from getting hungover. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's basically they'll hook up an IV to you to rehydrate your body way more than you need, and even put vitamins in it and all kinds of things to just make you feel better faster. And it really makes a difference. I can't do it. I've never done it because it freaks me out personally, but I love it for people that it does help. I think it's amazing. Yeah.
I mean, my question with that is always beyond the anecdotal evidence, is this an accepted scientific practice? And then also, anytime we start talking supplements, I get a little weirded out because of how poorly regulated that whole industry is.
100%.
But a lot of smart people I know, you, Aaron, other friends do this on a regular basis. So it is something I'm curious about. What's the evidence and, how specifically is it working?
No, you're 100% right. And to your point, your body only absorbs, I think it's something like 10 to 12% of vitamins. Yeah. It's hard. It's just hard for your body to absorb it through your digestive system. So this helps with that because you are getting those vitamins, and the IV tech basically builds me an IV bag, a vitamin bag with the things that I need for training. So it's high in vitamin C, high in magnesium, because magnesium helps with muscle recovery and relaxation. So it's all kind of tailored to what you need. But doing it through the IV, you get a higher absorption than if you were to just do supplements.
Drink it or eat it or whatever. Yeah.
Correct. It's literally putting it directly into your bloodstream. But yeah, I mean, you can 100% feel the difference. And and at the end of the day, also just that instant hydration is pretty great.
Yeah. And with kind of standard vitamins like that, those are pretty chill, generally speaking. It's the other stuff that you need to worry about, where it's something that you've never heard of before. And someone's you gotta take this. It's oh, okay, maybe back off on those. Yeah.
No, it borders very closely to some snake oil salesman type shit.
100%. What I understand about multivitamins, which is admittedly not much, is generally speaking, most people don't need them. If you're eating a balanced diet, you're probably fine. but it's not going to hurt you. Like take an over-the-counter multivitamin, it's going to be fine, but it's also probably not necessary in most cases. I find this whole thing really, really interesting because of how widespread the vitamin industry is, and also how totally unregulated.
Oh man,
so much of it is in kind of a scary way. Personally, I think.
I mean, we really don't even know if vitamins can be absorbed in the body, like in pill form. Like technically you have to get all of your vitamins through Whole Foods. And like,
is that true? I didn't know that.
So Aaron's been reading this food science book and he's been telling me like little snippets from it like every day. And he's like obsessed. He's like learning all about like whole food and food science. Like he was telling me about like orange juice. Did you know that like orange juice in the grocery store is actually like 7 to 8 months old already by the time it's on the shelves?
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Like they like put like acidic and like flavor savers and stuff to make it taste like orange juice and stuff. Like just like stuff like that. Like I'm like, ugh, I didn't know that. But yeah, that vitamin thing was one of the things he was telling me recently.
Yeah, your body definitely absorbs a little, but not a lot. Not the amount that you think you're getting. I actually have a friend of mine who is a professor and scientist up in Northern California, and her specific field and what she is actively working on is trying to develop a better vitamin that has a higher absorption rate into your bloodstream.
Cool.
But she's like the first one, because I talked to her about this as well, especially getting into all this. And she's like,
great.
Yeah, like you said, Brian, like it's not going to hurt you, but where the supplement industry gets I'm the same way, gets the EBGBs is when it starts feeling like very predatory and people are spending like a lot of money on things that are like false promises.
Yeah. And there's also a lot of like, especially with some of these supplements, there's like a bro culture element to it, which is like, what are we doing here, guys? You know, you don't need to pound like a quarter cup of powder a day to increase your vitamin element, you know, and the fact that all these, you know, assholes get rich selling supplement, Alex Jones and people like that get rich off these completely, And he's not being like, hey, take some more vitamin D. He's like, you know, take my Alex Jones Pro Powder or whatever the fuck it's called, you know. But of course, you know, Alex Jones can absolutely go fuck himself. One of the worst people in the world, unambiguously, just 100%. Across the board. But yeah, I love that you're talking to a professor friend.
Here's hoping that her and her team make a better vitamin. So there are people who are actively working on it.
Now, the question is, Susie, when will you be boxing?
I'm not. I can't. Oh, I would fold like a wet paper towel. I do not have it in me. I am shocked. That's why like I'm so like amazed by Marisha, because like, do you know that they're gonna hit you? Like, like it just like it feels like I just can't compute.
Same.
Like,
I wouldn't be caught near that ring personally. Like, I have a decent medical reason, which is a very nice cover for the fact that I'm terrified of doing it and don't want to. But I have very, very bad vision, like minus 15, minus 16 in both eyes. And I've been told by eye doctor after eye doctor, it's bad for you to get punched in the face because it could like tear your retina. But if I were to say that's the reason I don't want to do it, that would be fundamentally dishonest. The real reason is I don't want to get punched and I'm scared of it. But I can be like, oh, no, my eyes. Oh, you know, you get it.
Yeah. I mean, it's probably for the best because, like, you know, you can only get injured like that once before you're like, actually, I don't want to do this anymore. So maybe it's good to make the call early.
Yeah. I would want to do the training part without the boxing part. That's the part that sounds most interesting to me, is like train like you're going to fight, but then don't actually do the fight part. I would be all about that.
I mean, doing some like cardio boxing. There's a lot of like kind of cardio boxing studios out there where you are just kind of like working the bag.
Very popular, yeah.
It's one of the best workouts you could get. It's full body. You're working out muscles in your back and your abs that you didn't even know existed. It's insane. I'm fighting Haley, trying to aim for like 135, 140, but ultimately we have to be within 10 pounds of each other. So as long as I'm over 130 and she's under 140, so she's coming down in weight and I'm coming up. But I'm currently sitting, when I started this whole process, I was weighing in at 126 and I'm currently sitting at 134.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of muscle.
Yeah, and I'm down 2% in body fat as well. So it is like primarily like 6-7 pounds of muscle, which is crazy.
With the body fat thing, have you ever done like the full scan where you get in the tank? Is that how you analyzed it? I've never done it because I'm scared of what it might tell me. But like, did you do that?
Not the one where you're getting like the water take. I know which one you're talking about.
That's the one I'm talking about.
There are like the in-body machines that a lot of times your nutritionist has, and we have one at the gym that I train at.
I did one of those before. It was like an electro current, isn't it? Like it's just like you're on a scale. You don't even feel it.
Yes, exactly. And you like hold these little electro knobbies, and then it like reads your whole. It's wild. It's wild how it works.
I don't know how that works. I mean, I can sort of guess how that works, but how they can be so precise, that's so interesting.
Oh, they're insane. I still have the printout. It's from like 2012 or something. Every once in a while I look back on it and I'm just like, it like has all of your information and like where you are on a scale between like, you know, yellow, green, and red for like cholesterol and fat levels and all this stuff. Just because I think it's something to do with the fat and the water amounts in your body and just like what the electricity does and bounces back with those.
I would assume they conduct electricity differently, right? So I would assume it can, based on how the current moves through your body and maybe a speed thing or something like that, they can guess it's some kind of average or something, guess, you know, what the conductance of your body is and then go on from that. But it is kind of mystifying to me exactly how
Science is crazy.
Do it. Science is fucking crazy. It's true.
Science is magic.
Here's my proposal. I may have talked about this on the podcast before, but if I did, too bad. I want something like Creator Clash, but for people who don't want to be hit. And here's my proposal. So it's all of the accoutrements of a boxing match. So it's the ring, it's the stadium, it's the lights, it's the announcer. I don't know if they have people with round cards or bells or whatever, but it's 2 desks and it's a math competition. And so people come out in their robes and their short, whatever you're wearing, you know, you wear your thing and you have your team in your corner or something like that. And everything about it is exactly the same. There's an announcer, and then they give you a page of like integrals or something like that, some calculus to do.
Oh my God.
And it's a toe-to-toe, like you can talk trash about your opponent if you can do that while you're calculating. You can play the same sort of mind games. Maybe you have to put a mouthpiece in so that you can or something.
No. This is the Brian contest.
But that's right. So So my goal was, you know, challenge like, I don't know, fucking Logan Paul or something to a math contest. It's a battle of wits, not a battle of fists.
Don't worry.
Let's say, okay. So I picked some low-hanging fruit and an easy target there. But there are certainly enough, you know, like science creators or whatever out there who it would be fun. Also, there's no weight divisions or anything like that. It can really be anyone versus anybody. It doesn't have to be math. Of course, it could be different things, any kind of like, you know, battle of knowledge or something.
Just the weight of your brain.
That's exactly
it's a
right.
Talent show of the creators.
There'd have to be some kind of great weigh-in event. Exactly. So what's the weigh-in? I don't know. You know, maybe it's a spelling bee.
Sure. Oh, yeah. Are you as good at spelling as you are at math?
I'm pretty good at spelling, but I'm probably better at math. Yeah.
Interesting.
They're not correlated as far as I know, right? You can be great at math and a terrible speller and vice versa.
Yeah. Did you happen to catch any of the chess boxing event?
No, I didn't. Did you do that?
I did not do that. I went. One of my sparring partner participated in it, Andrea Botez, and she was robbed, but she did great. It's so wild. Because you're like, I remember first hearing about it. And it's like, the people play chess for 2 minutes and then they box for 2 minutes and then they go back and forth. And I was like, what? Why? But I do understand the appeal because the more people get hit in the head, the worse they get at chess.
Yes. So the thing I'm proposing is exactly like chess boxing without the boxing.
Right.
Yes.
I'm glad that boxing's having this huge like resurgence. Like it's really cool to see people have an interest in something like physical and like the passion behind it. Like I think it's really cool.
Yes.
A lot of like hobbies have died out in America, I feel. So like it's really cool to see people get passionate about it again.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a really fun way of getting, you know, broadly speaking, a group of creators to do a thing together that, people you wouldn't normally cross paths with, but are in the same kind of universe as, and you get to be in the same space and hit each other.
Yeah, I wanted to ask, Marisha, did your audience have any kind of reaction to you announcing this? Were they expecting it?
Oh man, no one was really expecting it. There was definitely a lot of comments that were like, "Oh, didn't expect to see you on this list." What was scary though is there was a lot of people who were like, "Oh, Marisha's got this. All my money's on Marisha. Marisha's winning." People put out their bets, their predictions. And obviously too, plenty out there for Haley. She's also getting a lot of love and support. But it was the more people commented that it's in the bag, she doesn't even need to step in the ring, she's already got this, the more I was like, oh God, I can't fuck this up.
Yeah.
Now the pressure is real. It's support, but also pressure.
Yes.
Exactly. You don't want to let them down. Yeah.
No, what you
100%.
want are the lowest expectations imaginable. You want everyone to say, whatever happens, happens. She's probably going to lose, but whatever. And then you can shock them if you win. And
I love being
not,
underestimated.
Yes, that's exactly right. That's the best place to be.
Can't go anywhere but up when you're underestimated. But hopefully I'm not being overestimated, which is also, why I am training the insane amount that I am training as well.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I remember watching Haley's fight last year and just everybody was like, this little girl, she's so tiny, and she's going up against Minx, who's just this machine. And everyone is like, does she know what she's getting into? And she held her own, holy cannoli. So she's coming into it with that previous year's experience, but I feel like you are also coming into the mix with something completely different. So I'm really interested to see it. Yeah.
She's got the advantage of having been through it once.
But you also have friends who've been there, so we can pump you up and get you ready. Yeah.
I know. There's so many people rolling out there too. A lot of people, a lot of my friends.
I'm debating going. I gotta say, I'm thinking about
you
it.
You have to go. It's so much fun.
I want to.
I will say, so many weird things happened when we went last year. I can't wait to go back again this year. Yeah.
I don't know if I told you this, Susie. It was way too late in the game. 4 days before the event, I called our friend Justin from Real Good Touring, and I was like, dude, Creator Clash pitch idea. At the very end, Ninja Brian comes in, takes on all the winners, mind lasers them, everybody dies. And he's like, dude, this event is happening in 4 days. What are you fucking talking? No. A, no, and B, no. But I was like, wouldn't that be fun?
It's basically that that Hot Ship music video.
Yes.
You know which one? Yes.
Yes. Yeah,
it just comes in and lasers everybody in the audience.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I can't wait for this year, Marisha. Yeah.
I know. It's going to be fun. Everybody, this is Late Night with Brian Wecht. My name is Brian Wecht. I do have a special guest co-host today. Guest co-host, who are you?
Hi, my name is Susie. You might know me as Mortimer Online from Game Grumps or from my own stuff. Hi, how's it going?
Great. And Leighton's on a little break here, so Susie is filling in for a few episodes while Leighton is on vacation. And we also have an amazing mystery guest. Mystery guest, who are you?
Hello, I'm Marisha Ray. You may know me from Critical Role or maybe some various voiceover video game appearances. And I guess in April 15th, Creator Clash 2.
Hell yeah. That's awesome. No, we're so excited to have you here. As I said to Susie before, we've been meaning to reach out to you for a while. So when Susie agreed to step in as co-host and she was like, how about Marisha? I was like, yes, of course, please. That'd be great. So it's
I'm so
awesome
flattered.
To have you on.
I'm so honored.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yeah, I'm so glad you had the time for us because I know how busy you are. How do you balance work and training? Is that a hard thing for you? Because I know with Aaron, he comes home and he sleeps. He's literally burning the candle at both ends.
100%. Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
And I honestly don't think I could do it if I didn't have such an immense support structure. And it extends between my incredible husband, Matthew Mercer, everyone at Critical Role, both the cast and my team behind me, who are kind of acknowledging and allowing that I might not be able to make every meeting for the next few weeks. And even, between the fan base, my other friends, and the Creator Clash community as well. And having that support structure, I got to give a shout out to Brett, aka Hundar, who's also fighting in Creator Clash 2. He's kind of been my like ride or die throughout this process. And just even on Monday, I was just like kind of feeling like just fucking down on myself and was just having a rough training day and wasn't feeling really good about any of it. And I kind of hit him up and I was like, hey man, like, what the fuck? I feel like this whole situation can very much feel like 2 steps forward, 1 steps back a lot of times. And I'm tired and just not feeling motivated. And he was like, dude, like, I'd say for every 3 days of training, I have at least one of those days. And it was just like really good to like hear, and then talking to just a lot of other people who are participating in it as well. And just knowing that acknowledgement that like, yeah, this is hard and not all days are going to be great. And yeah, I understand why so many creators who participate in this don't put out content for 3 months while they're training. Because like, what the fuck? But yeah, you know, we have our animated series that we're still airing while we're in production on it. Obviously, still filming episodes of Critical Role.
Season 2 is airing right now, right?
Yes, season 2 is airing right now. And then we're in the middle right now, in the thick of season 3 of production on it.
That's so great.
Which is amazing. It's absolutely incredible. And then, yes, of course, still doing the main show, still trying to develop more content, everything that we have going on behind the scenes. So I can't just peace out for 3 months. I just can't.
No, right.
So it's hard. There's definitely a lot of days where I get up at 6:30. I go in and I train boxing for 90 minutes. I go immediately into the office. We'll have 3-4 meetings in the day. And then sometimes roll right into Critical Role filming because we film in the evenings. We'll often have like a 4:30, 5 o'clock call time. You know, eat dinner at the studio, film. But this was my day yesterday, by the way. This was exactly the day yesterday. Film till midnight normally. Get home 12:30, 1 o'clock, sleep, and do it again.
No.
So that's
amazing.
God. I hear these schedules and it makes my heart hurt. Like, I hope you fighters are taking care of yourselves too. Because like, that's when you're healing and you're like developing the muscles, is when you're sleeping. So like, you really need that sleep. Yeah.
I mean, that's the hardest part about it. And like, sometimes my coach will get on me because he'll be like, I've got to be eating X amount of calories in meals. He'll be like, did you do the cold plunge? And did you roll yourself out? And did you jump on the exercise bike for 30 minutes? And I'm like, no, I went, I went to work. I went to work. Exactly. I think that's something else for people to be aware of, where I feel like we obviously love and idolize professional athletes. But I think a lot of times, like, the work ethic of professional athletes sometimes almost gets like used against the average person, where they're like, oh yeah, well, you know, what are you going to do? Like LeBron James, he hits the gym at 4:30 in the morning. And I'm like, yeah, he's getting paid millions of dollars to do that. He's not doing anything. That's his job.
And by the way, is probably undervalued given how much he gets paid. I don't mean to derail this, but because there's an NBA salary cap, other athletes are getting a lot more than he is relatively.
Yes.
Like it's crazy. By the way, I said that as if I know something about sports. I do not. I heard that on a Planet Money podcast about a year ago. So that's how I know this. So, you know, just full disclosure. But I totally agree. These people, it's like, well, you know, The Rock, blah, blah, blah. It's like, we're not using The Rock as our industry standard, are we?
Exactly.
He has a net worth of $500 million or whatever the fuck it is, and whose entire job can center around working out. No, we're not going to use that as the goal. And by the way, like, I don't even know if he has kids or whatever, but that's a whole other, probably he's having some help taking care of them if he does. Yeah.
Yeah. People got to work. People have family lives. And I say this as someone who is incredibly hard on themselves, but I think people need to allow themselves a little bit more grace, where it's like, if you can like get up and you just show up, and even if it means you're only getting like 30 minutes, 2 to 3 days a week, that is pretty fucking great.
Do what you can.
You know, for the average person, you do what you can, and be proud of yourself for showing up. Because that's honestly like the hardest part about just trying to take care of yourself and self-care. And obviously we all know that like self-care is often most people's lowest priorities, you know, when you're trying to provide for people, when you're trying to work, when you have a lot of other things going on. So And obviously social media and the Instagram influencers and all of these people, as we all know in this digital age, don't often help people's self-esteem and can kind of skew expectations. But I think just people giving themselves a little bit more credit where credit is due can go a long way.
I'm curious in your case. I mean, your life has changed so radically in the last 5 years. You've seen this huge success in Critical Role that I can only imagine what a difference in your self-care regimen this must have required to some extent, where you went from like, hey, obviously you were doing all sorts of great stuff before Critical Role and you continued, but, then Critical Role kind of like explodes into the stratosphere. I have never been through something like that myself, where one particular project, and it's not overnight, blah, 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 but suddenly you can kind of put a date on like, this is where the hockey stick really like goes nuts. Like, I'm curious, what was that experience like for you personally? Not the mechanics but just like, what was the emotional side of what a minute, what the fuck is happening right now? That kind of thing.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, I think a lot of times, because we have seen such amazing success and success that many people crave and wish that they had. So once again, try not to be hard on ourselves when we have those moments of being like, this is a lot, or this is overwhelming. And are we completely bound and suffering from our sheer ambition? Because there are absolutely days where it's like you just crave a moment of quiet or peace, or just not feeling completely underwater with everything that we have going on that we're trying to do. We often compare Critical Role to that like old Tex Avery cartoon of the dog building the railroad tracks as he's on the speeding train.
Yeah,
and that's what it feels like all the time.
Yeah,
I really enjoy. There's a commencement speech by Neil Gaiman for the Art Institute back in like 2008, 2009. Mm-hmm. Don't quote me there. It's on YouTube. Highly recommend it. But one of the things that I really appreciate that talk that he did was that, especially when you're going into a creative field as an artist, or, it can also apply to many other fields, people often warn you about the problems of failure, but no one warns you of the problems of success. Mm-hmm. And, all the little things about trying not to lose yourself, trying to enjoy your success. Just take a moment to look at it and be like, holy fucking shit. This is cool. Look at this. Yes. Look at people enjoying the work that we're putting in. That's awesome. And I think that's the hardest thing that the entire Critical Role team kind of struggles with, is just kind of taking a moment to breathe and not being so stressed out about like, well, what do we got to do next? What comes next?
Yes.
So we're trying to get better at that. But it's definitely, it's a hard balance. It's hard. Yeah. It's hard. It's an interesting balance.
Yeah. It always feels like, certainly I felt this with Ninja Sex Party. It's like, wait, is this the best it's ever going to be? And it's always been great. Like, we started off playing to small clubs in New York and then had big success once Danny joined Game Grumps. And every time we're doing some show or in the studio, sell an album, whatever, there's always a part of me that's like, is this the peak? Am I peaking? Do I not know it? Is this the best it's ever going to be? And then I have to ask myself, like, okay, take a moment, be very happy things are going well.
Yeah.
If I don't worry about what's going to happen tomorrow, right now, it's going to be okay. I can give myself a week of like, let's just ride this out. But then what always comes next for me is like, okay, how do we top it? What's next?
Yep.
Like, if we take too many chances, is that going to piss off the people that like it? If we don't take enough, are we doing ourselves a disservice? I constantly have this worry. This is incredibly self-destructive, that I'm supposed to be having the most fun of my life right now, and I'm not appreciating it enough. And then in 5, 10, 50, however many years, I'm going to look back at literally right now and been like, that was the moment. That's when you should have been enjoying it more. That's it.
Yes.
You can get to that place though. Like you can practice like daily gratitude and stuff. And I think you can get 100%. To a place where you can live more in the moment and be there for more of the now. But I'm not saying that I've gotten there, but like, I know that there are tricks to get there.
Yeah. Susie, I feel like you're such a very like self-aware person. What do you do to try and like, just like you said, practice that daily gratitude?
I go introspective a lot. Whenever I feel anything like weighing on me from the internet, or like whenever like something becomes too much, I will meditate. I don't as much now, but for a while I was doing at least an hour of meditating a day. And I would go like introspective and just be like, why is this comment making me feel this way? Because you can totally detract the comment from the person. This comment is only coming from them because they feel this way themselves, right? And they're calling you out on it because they see it and they don't like it. There's no other reason for it to happen.
This is, by the way, also a useful skill in a
Psychology.
marriage, as we all know.
De-escalating and taking it all apart.
Yes.
But just evaluating and subtracting yourself from the equation and seeing, okay, well, this person's pain is obviously theirs, but it affects me because of this experience. And as long as I can understand that, I can let that go. And it's all about letting it go. I've had to learn to be a lot more fluid and just let things roll off me. And that's been one of the most difficult lessons of working on the internet, for sure, because the internet loves to pick you apart. And it's not all of the internet. It's just the vocal minority, right?
Yeah.
A lot of people love you and they're really sweet, but that vocal minority can be really cruel.
And those are the ones you remember. Those are the ones you remember too.
Yeah.
I try, unsuccessfully often, but I try to spin failures into secret successes. So for example, I remember when I was on Game Grumps, I saw some comment once that someone posted, "I'm sick of the Brian Weck style of humor." And I was like, oh, that's a bummer. And then I was like, wait a minute, I have a style of humor. Oh, fuck yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Someone pinpointed a thing that I do that they called my style that they don't like. That's actually a great compliment because it means I'm doing a recognizable thing, right?
Yeah, 100%.
So if I was looking at this, it's not quite the same thing, but there's a philosophical precept called the principle of charity. Has either of you ever heard of this?
I don't know if I have.
It's something I really like. And the idea is if you're arguing with someone, let's say you have different positions, and they say something you disagree with, your goal should be to frame that in the most positive way possible. So for example, the worst thing you can do is say, oh, they don't mean it. They're just saying this to bother me. Okay, let's assume they mean it. Let's assume they have the best intentions out there. Like that this person is 100% genuine and they're saying something because they earnestly believe it and they want to help humanity through this. So when you're arguing with someone, when you disagree with someone, a useful exercise is to go to the far end of the charitable spectrum. Let's give every benefit of the doubt and then try to disagree with that and maybe along the way understand where the other side is coming from. So I often try to think about when I'm reading concepts of this principle of charity, like, let me try to understand what this could mean in the best possible light, which is often hard to do. And I'm not saying I'm successful at it. When
did that kind of reflection come back to you? I feel like that's something that only comes to you like post being a parent and like teaching your child or like being introspective of that. Like, when did you become aware of that? Well,
for me, I was trained as a scientist. So I learned very early, if someone said something I disagreed with, which happened literally all the time because it was my job to disagree with people and be disagreed with, that I would have to say, okay, no, this is my friend. I like this person. We're trying to arrive at a common conclusion that we all agree with. This person might be making a strong argument, like a loud and like not often, but occasionally yelly argument. You work with people from different cultural backgrounds, and occasionally I would show up at work and one of my collaborators would be like, hey, I saw that idea. I thought it was kind of stupid. And I'd have to be like, okay, that's not very nice, but I like this guy. Well, let's talk about it. And so I had to drill it into my head. This is a human being. We have the same goal. Let's argue about this and treat each other with respect.
Yeah.
And after a while, I realized that in the one particular case I'm thinking of, when he was like, oh, I think that idea is kind of stupid, that was a compliment in a way. Like he respected me so much that he could just be like, hey, that's kind of dumb.
Yeah.
Did I love it? No, I didn't love it. But there was a foundation of respect there that I could eventually crack into. So I think this comes from my training as a scientist, of this idea like, we're all on the same team. Let's try to do this together.
Also, like your experience as an artist too. Yeah.
Yeah. It's very admirable. People don't even have to have 100% of that entire philosophy, but even if they were able to exercise like an ounce of that maybe we wouldn't be as messed up on like a political spectrum
right.
in society right now.
It can backfire pretty fast when you're arguing with someone who does not have good intentions and, is trolling or whatever. Like, if you go too far down that path with someone who is determined to just be oppositional and cruel, that is not a successful strategy. So there is an element of like, okay, sometimes you just have to walk away. In fact, most of the time, I would say, like my number one philosophy with online comments is don't read them, don't engage. I turn to friends and people who I know for their opinion of stuff, and generally online, I'm not looking.
That's a tide I've seen change recently, by the way. I remember when we were doing Game Grumps, we would always be, don't read the comments. And everyone would be like, what do you mean? Read the comments. We're all trying to help you. Yeah. And now all creators, like on all platforms, are like, don't read the comments. And I'm glad that change is coming along, because to put yourself out there on the internet is such a sensitive and hard thing to do already. And then to be judged by thousands, millions, however many people, nobody needs that. It's so unnecessary. Yeah.
And I mean, I know many, many people have touched on this, that our brains aren't really programmed to handle that. The internet and the digital age, information age is evolving so quickly. Our pack mentality, monkey brains aren't designed to be able to take on opinions from thousands of people at once. It really wasn't that long ago that we were in a little town of 100 people. And then those were the only 100 people who you really had to care about and cared if their opinions matter, but not thousands.
I think about this too in the context of parenting. I have an 8-year-old, and just like you sometimes see that one comment that for whatever reason just sticks with you for the rest of your life, even though you don't want it to, usually negative. As a dad, I'm always worried that the thing I say will be the thing that sticks with my daughter for the rest of her life. And by the way, I'm not like, saying negative stuff, but you live with a person and you say things to them, especially when they're a kid. You have to be like, I don't think I would put lotion on my feet and dance on the table right now. That seems like a bad move. You keep them safe, but there's always a little piece of the back of my mind where I'm like, oh man, what if I accidentally do something that's like the thing she remembers forever, which we all have with our parents. Like absolutely, you can point to a thing, I'm sure they wouldn't even remember saying it. And then it's like, oh, fuck, I've been fucked up about that forever. They didn't even remember. Like, I'm always worried about that.
You never remember.
I worry that I'm like a little internet comment factory for my 8-year-old. And
that's so cool.
I don't want to be. I think we should move on to some segments. All right. So we're going to move on to our first segment now. This is our pop culture recommendation segment. This is where you get to talk about a book, a movie, a video game, something you've been enjoying recently. Can be high culture, can be low culture. This segment is called What's Poppin'? And the theme song we add in post, but it does go right here.
What's poppin'?
What's poppin'? So, Marisha, I'm going to ask you the question I love to ask all of our guests, which is, if you had heard the theme song, what would you have thought about it?
Oh, man, I think that that slap bass just really kicks.
Yeah, I did that special just for this.
Yeah, I mean, incredible. I love also the little drum riff, the little,
yeah, it's real catchy.
Cymbals at the end. It's great.
Yeah, thank you.
It's a bop.
Thank you very much. It is a pop. I appreciate that. Susie, what's poppin'?
Yes. So I've had to dig my mind to see what was poppin'. Last week I talked about a Ouija board, and the week before that it was a book. So I was like, what's poppin' for me music wise? And I don't know about y'all, but I love to listen to music while I work or podcasts, obviously, like this.
Absolutely.
And I love movie soundtracks. Movie soundtracks are my absolute favorite. So if anyone else is like me and loves movie soundtracks, like Last of the Mohicans, I highly recommend. But my recommendation this week is Poppin' is a Lawrence of Arabia soundtrack.
Oh, nice. Look at that. Whoa, look at that vinyl.
This is
That's
the
awesome.
old vinyl. I got this on a
That rules. Look at that
secondhand
60s
website,
font, too.
I know.
I'm so into Lawrence of Arabia right now. But the soundtrack is just otherworldly. It really transports you and it just takes me there. I love it. So I highly recommend this. That's popping for me.
That is one of those movies that totally lives up to the hype. It's real fucking long, but it's the best.
It has the God's eye lens, right? Like that's what got me to watch it, was because I've had like some kind of like supernatural pull to the movie lately too, for like a couple years now. I just really been pulled to it. But in that movie, they have this thing called the God's eye lens, where the camera twists in such a way where you can see him come through the mirage on a camel through the desert. And it's such an amazing shot. It was only possible because of this one magnificent lens, and it's humongous, and no other director wants to use it because they're so worried about damaging it or ruining the reputation of it. So this is the only movie I think it's been used in.
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
But yeah, like I just love it. Yeah.
There's something too about those old like Technicolor movies where if you're a pale skinned person, you look orange, right? There's just something about like the color palette that the Technicolor brings out, which is so you just don't see this in movies anymore. It's wild. It's so cool. Yeah.
They don't make them like they used to.
They really don't. They really don't.
They don't.
Yeah.
Marisha, what's popping for you?
Man, so I was thinking about this a lot as well. I'm like, okay, well, I could say the obvious. The only show that I'm watching right now is The Last of Us, but that doesn't need promoting. But when it comes to video games these days, and what I really only have time for is indie video games. And man, there are some great indie video games just on the scene right now and in general. And I think I've been more drawn to them because they can be a little bit more unique. They're breaking the formulas a lot. I can't remember the last time I played a AAA title because it just, once again, they're all the same and they're all 40 hours at this point.
Right. Yeah. Ugh.
But there's some like unique stuff going on in the indie game world. And one of my favorite indie games that I've played in the last handful of years is Kentucky Route Zero. And a little bit of an older game, but they just released it to be playable on Netflix.
Oh, wild.
What?
Yes. Yeah. Because I mean, so much of it honestly is more of like a choose your own narrative, I would say. Choose your own perspective. You don't really get to change the narrative, but you do get to influence the way that you view the story and through which character's lens that you get to experience it. So it totally makes sense that it's easy enough to be ported into Netflix with just basically the choice mechanic of it. So yeah, if anyone has been wanting something different, if you don't have a Switch or you're not really into playing games on Steam and you want to still just be comfy on the couch, Kentucky Route Zero is just absolutely incredible. Yeah, I just haven't really seen anything like that game in a long time.
Awesome.
Hell yeah.
I love it.
Brian?
Susie, yes. Do you have a question for me?
Do you have anything popping right now?
I do. Actually, there is a show, a TV show that I think could use some promotion that I've been enjoying. So what's popping for me this week is a Peacock show called Paul T. Goldman. Has either of you heard about this?
I've never heard of the show.
It's fucking nuts. It's directed by Jason Wallner, who's an esteemed comedy director. He directed the Borat sequel, Eagle Heart, if you ever saw that. Just done a bunch of cool comedy projects over the years. And it's part true crime. It's part meta narrative. And the idea is this guy, Paul T. Goldman, gets married and suspects that his wife is running a worldwide prostitution ring. And it turns out, and I don't want to give anything away because I can't remember the last time I was like completely surprised by where a thing went. And so I don't want to tell you where this goes, but let's just say this guy is maybe not the most reliable narrator in the world. And
okay, I like
interesting.
that. Yeah.
the 6 episodes, it's very digestible. It's all done. It's just a limited
only
series.
6.
Only 6. They're all roughly an hour long. And he plays himself in the show. And it's sort of a documentary, except you learn pretty early on that you just can't trust this guy. And the narrative sort of explores that. It's weird. It's got a lot of great character actors that show up. So it's a documentary, but then it's a documentary about the documentary, and then it kind of spins off into another thing. I really don't want to give too much away about this because you should just watch it. The closest thing it is like Nathan Fielder's The Rehearsal, but it is not like that. But it is also not like that at all. So it is a weird little unicorn that I really, really enjoyed. And I recommend everyone just go in as blind as you can and watch it. Paul T. Goldman on Peacock.
What platform is that on?
Peacock.
Okay.
Yes.
So it's very meta. It sounds very like meta and self-aware.
It is extremely meta and self-aware. It is perhaps the most meta thing I have ever seen. I mean, it sort of becomes a thing about the making of a thing about the making of a thing. And it goes all sorts of places. And throughout the whole show, you just keep asking yourself, what am I supposed to be thinking is real here? And it is kind of unclear. So I loved it. It's really fun. And I've heard other like comedy type shows talk about it. How Did This Get Made? Talked about it a little bit, that show, things like that. So I've heard, because of Wallner's connection to comedy and comedians, he's been on a few things here and there. I think he was on Comedy Bang Bang. But I want to bring more eyes to this show because it is unique and wonderful.
Yeah, I haven't heard of it at all.
Yeah.
You know, it's on Peacock, and I feel like not a lot of people have that, even though that may be wrong. But if there's like a free trial, which I think there is out there for Peacock, it's worth, get the free trial, watch the thing, cancel your subscription, you know, do whatever you do.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Well, hell yeah. So shall we move into our next segment?
Let's do it.
We got some peaches and lemons, y'all. So if you don't know what peaches and lemons are things that bring you joy, gratitude, and lemons are something that wrestles your jimmies, makes your day bad. And I kind of feel like we should end on peaches. So we end on a high note, and maybe we should start with lemons today.
Peaches and lemons. Peaches and lemons.
So I have 2 lemons, and I'll try and do them fast. Okay, the first one is the world famous groundhog, Puxatawny Phil, saw his shadow. We have 6 more weeks of winter this week.
Man, fuck that guy.
No.
Yeah, so just let that sink in. I don't know why we're still letting this groundhog, and I don't know why he's world famous. And I mean, who decided Puxatawny Phil is the groundhog? But yeah, he decided 6 more weeks, so that sucks. And then my other lemon is that, I don't know about you guys, but I tweeted about this and I got a lot of feedback. Ever since the pandemic happened, I feel like drivers have gotten 10 times worse. Every time I leave my house, I almost get in a car accident. There's so many unnecessary risks. I feel like people have lost their patience. There have been times where I'm like, I'm not going out because I don't want to risk driving. Like, I'm like so put off these days. How about you guys? Do you guys have some lemons?
Yeah. I just want to tag into that last one. You're totally correct about the driving. People are, especially in Los Angeles, where people are bad drivers anyway. And also it's been raining a lot over the last month, which takes already bad drivers and turns them into maniacs. The bad driving thing is definitely, that is a real phenomenon, which I have noticed as well. I feel like people kind of stopped. They got used to empty roads and were like, you know what? I'm going to go 120 miles an hour anyway, because look how fast I was going.
Just the other day, I mentioned, I was like, man, don't want to wish for pandemic times when we were all in quarantine. But it was like, man, remember when the roads were empty? And that was so nice. And I miss that so much. Yes, it's gotten gnarly. It's gotten gnarly.
It's worse than it was before. Yeah.
Marisha, do you have a lemon for us?
Yeah. I don't know if you all saw the recent Mr. Beast video where he cured 1,000 people's blindness.
I did not see that.
He basically, very Mr. Beast-esque, threw a bunch of money at covering the surgery, which is a very simple surgery that only, outpatient surgery takes like 10 minutes to do, but so many people are price gated out of it. So he paid for 1,000 people's surgery to get basically replace the lenses on the front of their eyes and replace them with an artificial lens so that they can see again. That's not the thing that I'm mad about. There were a small subsect of people on it, once again, vocal minority, of people who just had like a huge issue with this and criticized him for more or less claiming that it was like charity out of exploitation to get views, or just doing this in a way that it felt, kind of using the people in the video. And it just kind of made me think back to what we already know, which is that people are really mean and critical about people just trying to help. Mm-hmm. And like that feels like the thing that people will get the most critical of, ironically, is like, you're helping wrong. And it's just so frustrating. And obviously there was a ton of discourse and conversation about it that like maybe we should be more upset that the medical industry is so messed up that it takes a very wealthy YouTuber to even provide this amount of medical care and cover this procedure that arguably should probably be sanctioned by the government in some way, shape, or form. So a ton to be discussed there. But yeah, it was just a mess. And I'm not a Mr. Beast stan. It's not his type of video. It's not my thing.
I just like the burgers.
Yeah, he's honestly good burgers. But
I've never had them. I am curious though. I have to admit,
but they're not bad.
No, yeah, I agree. Like he did something good and I think it should be celebrated. And like, I understand the people saying it's performative, but at the same time, like we need good in the world and he did something really good. And like, what else do you want him to do? Like that's what he does on his show. And like, who wouldn't want to do something like that for people? Like, honestly, if they had the kind of money, like I feel like anyone would want to do something like that. So good on him for actually doing it. Like it's cool. Exactly.
I'd much prefer him do stuff like this than like, this person can't leave this circle for 90 days or some of the other stuff that he does.
Yeah. Well, it's like also if the good is done, I guess to some extent questioning the motivation is not a productive thing in some cases, right? Obviously there are exceptions to this, but it's like, can we be happy that something nice happened, please?
Something nice happened, this is why we can't have nice things.
I think it's a misdirected anger, right? Like people are angry at him when really they should be angry that this is unattainable to the people who need it. And I think that's what the real root of the problem is.
Absolutely. And sure, could he have maybe commented on that a little bit more in his video? Sure. We all already know that though. And, and I don't disagree with like, oh, well, he's doing this for views or he's now profiting off of this. And it's like, yeah, but the two don't have to necessarily be mutually exclusive.
And it's still better that it happened, right?
Yes.
That is, I would think, unambiguous.
Yes. But yeah, don't be mean to people who are just doing a nice thing. That's my lemon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good one, yeah.
That is a good
Brian,
one.
do you have a lemon for us?
Yes, it's very minor. I was supposed to have dinner this week with the one, the only Brent Lilly. And at the last, I was looking forward to it all day. And the last minute, he couldn't make it through no fault of his own. And we were supposed to have dinner last month. I got sick. So it was like a rescheduled thing. I think it's happening tomorrow. Hopefully everyone makes it.
Fingers crossed.
But it was just like yay, Brent. Oh no. And it's not his fault, but it's just a thing I was looking forward to that didn't quite happen. But I think it's happening tomorrow. So
that's a really sweet one. You missed his company.
I know. I love Brent. He's been a guest on this show. I think I might have told you this, Susie, for years. I have been advocating that he do a show called That's Brentertainment, an insider's guide to Hollywood. And
Listen,
he refuses to do it.
Oh,
But I feel like that guy has a wealth of knowledge.
that man has seen things.
Yes, he's seen a lot of things. And he has the ideal lack of polish for such a thing in his personality, right? He's not an on-camera person, which is what makes him so relentlessly compelling. So,
Amazing.
yes. Anyway.
And that also just speaks to like the hardest part of adulting, which is like,
Yep.
oh, seeing my friends is hard.
Yes.
It's hard to do.
Yeah, it's
Yes.
so hard to organize.
And it is very much a Los Angeles thing where it's like, I made plans with someone, or they flaked at the last minute. Now, to be clear,
Yeah.
he wasn't flaking here. He couldn't make it for a good reason, but it is a stereotype, but it is true. People here will text you after you're at the place you were going to meet them. And they're like, traffic was bad. I decided I didn't want to do it. It's like,
Yeah, I couldn't find
I've
parking.
never done that to somebody. I would never do that
I
to
couldn't.
somebody.
Yeah.
But people here do it. Yeah, I can't find parking. I drove by, I got there, and then I couldn't find parking, so I left. Sorry.
Going
Bye.
home, yeah.
Like, come on. What are we doing? Anyway, that's my lemon.
Wow. Well, those are all really good lemons, guys.
Thank
I gotta
you.
say. But now we should uplift the people. We should bring
Great.
them some
Yes.
peaches to make their days better. So I have 3 things that I'm grateful for, and I'll start us off. First thing I'm really grateful for today is my 2-year anniversary on Lexapro for OCD.
Oh, wow.
And
Okay,
I will
nice.
say, medication changed my life. I used to feel like I was waiting for my life to begin, and now I feel like I'm actually living my life. So I highly
Wow.
recommend, if you feel that way, or like you feel disconnected, or like anything, go to therapy. Go to therapy.
Therapy's great.
Yeah, get medication if you need it, but don't be afraid of it. I was really put off by medication for a long time. It took me a long time to like trust it, and I'm glad I did. So I recommend
Hell yeah.
everybody trust their doctors.
Nice.
My second peach is the weather is finally nice, guys. So
Yes.
I've been opening my
Yes.
windows. It's really nice and cool here in LA right now, but not too cold. So I'm loving that. And then my third peach is strawberries are back in stores. It's like my favorite food. So I've been eating bowls and bowls of strawberries. And I don't know if anybody else does this. If I'm the only person who does this, let me know in the comments. I douse my strawberries in sugar when I'm eating them.
Yes.
You do it too?
100%. It's one of the only
Yeah.
ways I can eat them. Let me
I
take a
love
really
doing
sweet fruit and add sugar to it. But
It's my treat. Like I love doing that. Yeah.
My mom used to put powdered sugar on strawberries. Like,
It just
yeah,
makes
not,
them so much
not just
better.
like
It's like candy.
crystal. Yeah.
But yeah, those are my peaches. What about you guys? Do you guys have anything come into mind?
I can go here. So peach number 1 is, Marisha, you were talking about indie games. And I was playing a fast little indie game I just started playing called Elden Ring. And I just got a PS5, after fucking 3 years of trying. Finally, you can like get them now. So this is I don't think I said this last week on the show, Susie. This is the only non-Nintendo console I have ever owned, ever in my life. And I am 47 and I have never owned a PlayStation or Xbox or anything.
How?
How indeed? Well, because, they're expensive is how.
Yeah.
And I was moving, and indeed to the UK where the power is different and
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. So we actually did bring our Wii with us there and then back. But I resolved 3 years ago I was going to get a PS5 or whenever the fuck they came out, and then you couldn't get one. And I finally got one, and I was like, okay, I'm going to see what all the fuss is about. And I finally started playing it, and I'm, 8 hours into it, and I still don't understand what the fuck is happening. But it's fun. I see what the hype is about. I really like it. Turns out I'm a sucker for these giant open world games. Like I loved Breath of the Wild, and it's exciting to be playing this really fun game.
Gamer.
But also, it turns out, do you want to hear something crazy? There are a lot of games out there for the PlayStation. And it turns out all these games that I have never played because they weren't out on fucking Nintendo. And I'm a Mac user, so I don't have a gaming PC either. This whole vista of video games is suddenly wide open in front of me. And no,
Yeah.
I'm not even going to try to catch up. But it's nice to have that ability now. Peach number 2, yesterday I went to a dress rehearsal at the LA Opera of their Marriage of Figaro
cool.
production. And it turns out that if you're a donor, sometimes they open up dress rehearsals and, at don't give them a lot of money, but like you give them $100 or something and they open up these dress rehearsals. And so I went to one yesterday. They didn't really pause or anything. It was a full dress, full production, full orchestra, everything. And it was my first time back in that building in years, in the Dorothy Chandler. And it is just, first of all, it's such an artifact of the 60s or whenever it opened. It's got, the gold trim and the green carpets, and it just feels like another era. It's so cool in there. And just to see a full orchestra and all the singers, and it was great. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of people there, but they didn't have anyone sitting in the orchestra section. Everyone was up in the balconies, maybe because I don't know, were they filming it? They were, they're moving shit around because it's still a rehearsal. So that was fun. And my final peach is a peach by proxy. My wife and daughter are going to the preview for Super Nintendo World this Sunday.
Oh,
They got
And
in.
I am not a universal pass holder, but they are, because they bought the passes when they went a couple months ago in anticipation of this exact thing. And I got them reservations for Sunday at 4 p.m. So they're going to go check it out.
Does Audrey know?
She does not know yet because I don't want her to explode.
oh my
She will explode. Are you
goodness.
kidding me? Oh my God.
She's been talking about it for months. We watched the videos of the one in Japan together. She's very, very excited. Audrey is a massive Zelda and Mario fan. And I think we're going to wait until day of to tell her that Rachel, her mom, and she are going together. I won't be able to go because I didn't get the pass ahead of time, but I hope they have a great time because she's been talking about it like almost every week. She's like, are we going to Nintendo World now? And now it's actually open for previews and it officially opens in like 2 weeks or something.
I'm jealous of your daughter.
I know. They're going to have such a great time. I'm very excited. And then we'll go back when it's open.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Yep.
Tell them to take lots of
I know.
photos. Yeah.
It sounds like 8 years old is a great age to go to that thing.
Are you
at.
kidding me? That's the perfect age for it too.
It's kind of the perfect age for everything.
Yeah.
8 rules.
She's like independent. She's like a person.
Yeah. I tweeted this the other day. She was like, Daddy, did you know that the original Zelda game is so old that they have a word for people who played it when they were kids? And I was like, no, I didn't. What's that word? And she goes, old.
Oh man, my ego is just like took a hit.
I
This
know.
child. She's so funny.
She is so funny. She's very, very funny.
No one can roast like kids.
Yeah.
No. And at 8, they're still like little and silly. Here, she told me this joke. This is not an original. She told me this joke the other day. 3 sheep in a trench coat go to buy a ticket to the movies. And they walk up to the ticket counter and they say, 1 ticket, please. And the guy goes, I'm not going to give that to you. You're 3 sheep in a trench coat. And they're like, no, we're not. The guy goes, yes, you are. 1, 2.
That's a good one.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. I was
That's
like,
a
that's a
good,
cute
clean
joke,
joke.
Audrey. So that's
Very
the
cute.
age we're at. Yeah.
Amazing.
All right, Marisha, what are your peaches?
Oh, man, yeah. It's a peach. It could be a lemon, but it's actually a peach.
We call them Plemons, like Jesse Plemons.
Plemons.
Yes.
Yeah, silver lining Plemons. We're getting some work done on our backyard, some contracting work, which is plumbing stuff, things like that, which is good. It needs to be done. It'll be better when it's done. But
the joys of homeownership. Yeah.
yes, it is one of those things. And you're like, oh God, my wallet. And oh God, there's mud
Yeah.
and contractors and dirt everywhere. And yeah, it looks like a gigantic 40-foot mole has burrowed through our backyard. There's just massive trenches, which means we don't really enjoy letting we have a corgi named Omar. And
awesome.
he's so sweet. He's so super sweetie. If you follow me on Instagram, you can see pictures of him on there. But we can't really let him out in the backyard as freely. But the silver lining is it means we've been taking him on a lot more walks. And like last week, we had a little beach day. And that's just another one of those like little kind of reminders of like, oh my God, we had like such a good time. Just me, Matt, and Omar, just like watching him run freely on the
That's so
beach and
great.
just getting joy from just watching this dog like live his best life. And yeah, it's been nice to kind of have that excuse and that reason to be like, oh yeah, just taking walks with your dog is very nice. And we should, whether there's work going on or not, we should just try and make more time for that. So
Absolutely.
yeah, it's the simple things sometimes, especially when everything is so crazy. And then the other thing is, when we're recording this, it's a Friday, which means we had new episodes of our animated series, Legend of Vox Machina, that just dropped on Amazon Prime, which means one of the favorite things that we like to do as a cast is watch all the reaction videos on YouTube.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
From all the React channels. And it's just so great. Shout out to everyone who does the reactions. You might be surprised that we're watching you guys, and they're great. And it's just so amazing because, especially doing things when you make online content or, content for television, is you don't readily get that audience feedback like you would in like theater or doing a live show. So this is kind of like a nice supplement to see that live reaction feedback of the audience enjoying something that we put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into. So shout out to React channels on YouTube. Love you guys.
That's
and
great.
My last peach is, once again, as mentioned, going into the weekend. And this is going to make me sound like a lush, but as part of training for Creator Clash, my coach was like, keep drinking to the weekends. Drink on Fridays and Saturdays, and then that's it. Everything else, kind of no more drinking. I've been sticking to that. So
Yes.
I get to have a cocktail tonight.
You know what?
Oh.
Even though I am not training, I do the same thing.
Yeah.
Just because I was like, you know what? I feel like that's better for me. You know, if I'll go out for like a special occasion, whatever, I'll drink during the week. But other than that, like, yeah, I'm not going to drink except on the weekends. And I found that a very useful way of putting a little restriction on something that I never felt like I was drinking too much, but I look forward to it when I was like, okay, I'll get to have a little cocktail this weekend. Isn't that nice? A little treat. So it becomes something special instead. I totally agree.
It's a little treat.
Just a little treat.
Exactly.
It's
just
nice.
A little treat.
And admittedly, I was one who, would kind of fall into a bad habit of like, oh God, it was a long, stressful day. I'm going to come home from work and, have 2-3 glasses of wine, trying to help me wind down. So yeah, trying to get better at not doing that and having this like reason to do that. And I'm like, oh yeah, this is good. This is better for, my health, my mental health, all of that all around. So yeah.
I did that with coffee too, actually, although I'm well off that bandwagon now. But for a while, I was like, am I actually doing myself a disservice by doing coffee and alcohol only on weekends? Because they kind of do different things. But for years, I was like, I get to have coffee on the week. I don't like the idea of feeling like I have to have coffee every day.
Right. Or just have to have anything.
Yeah, exactly.
Same thing with booze, I'm like, man, getting into this feeling of like, oh, I need this to relax.
Yes,
and trying to find other ways. And once again, anyone who's out there, please don't take this as any type of slight if you are one of those people, because as previously mentioned, this still more or less is one of those people, if I didn't have a reason to force me into it. But yes, I am, all that being said, I'm excited about my Friday night cocktail.
I love it. Well, I'm excited to have had you on this show. So thank you so much for being here, Marisha. It has been a really fun conversation. We've been meaning to have you on, as I said, for years. And it's just great to get a chance to talk to you and to see you again, because it's been a long time since we've hung out. So it's great to see you.
I know. Yeah. I don't think I've seen you, Brian, since like, I don't know, probably a random Game Grumps party like years ago.
I think that's exactly what it was. Probably like 3 or 4 years ago. I saw Matt at an event more recently than that, but I don't think you were there. So yeah, I think for you and me, it was like a Grumps party.
I think so.
4 years ago
like
or something
Christmas
like that.
holiday party, maybe.
Yeah,
Not sure.
I feel like it's Halloween or something. Yeah, I don't even know.
Yes, that's exactly what it was. And yeah, Susie, thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, no, thank you. Like, I know how busy you are with work and just everything
Yes.
and training and like just like even like finding time for life. So thank you so much for fitting us in. I really
Yes,
appreciate
absolutely.
that. Yeah.
Hell yeah. I'm stoked. Once again, it's that work-life balance. This is fun to just kind of take a minute. And also, this is the first podcast I've done since the announcement of Creator Clash. So it was really cool to like,
Oh, awesome. Great.
Yeah.
get to chat about it. So
Yeah, for sure.
thank you guys so much. This was anytime you call me, you have my number.
If you guys want to buy tickets to Creator Clash,
Good.
it's going to be on April 15th in Florida in person.
Great. I love it.
And you can buy your tickets at thecreatorclash.com. Don't forget the part.
Absolutely.
And tickets are on sale right now, but they are going fast. So please, if you want to be there in person, get your tickets sooner rather than later because you will miss out and scalpers will be selling them. So
absolutely,
that's my
going
recommendation.
crazy fast. And then you can also, if you can't make it in person, you can find the information to get the pay-per-view stream through thecreatorclash.com as well.
I love it. And where can people find you, Marisha?
You can find me, of course, on Critical Role, which we have episodes Thursday nights on twitch.tv/Critical Role, as well as YouTube, Critical Role. But then personally, you can find me on Instagram at Marisha_Ray, and same for Twitter as well.
Cool. Awesome. Susie, do you want to bring us home here?
Yes. Ending statements. I just want to say, be kind to everybody. You never know who could be falling apart. It could be a person right next to you. So please try and be kind and smoke weed every day.
Hey.
Great. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Late Night is produced by Brian Wecht, Leighton Gray, and Jarek Centeno. Follow us on Twitter at Leighton Night, on Instagram at Leighton_Night, or email us at leightonnight@gmail.com.